Alright, so I worked up a pretty decent sweat with my warm-up. I think that was about like less than 10 minutes, and it's definitely something you can try to incorporate into your karate workouts, drills, and stuff like that. But let's talk about the approach to kicking. So if you guys seen my blocking video, I always consider blocking as like the front hand's a shield and the back hand's your power punch, right? So that shield's blocking things like that. And that's where all your karate-looking blocks happen, and it allows you to move and create angles, and that sets up the power hand on the right. Now, for kicks, you want to think of it as two different ways, right? Either you treat the kick as a jab, meaning it's your front hand that's kind of gauging the distance and also keeping your opponent at bay. You treat the kick as a way as an impact tool, where you're either trying to push them back or chop out their bases, right? Kicking at the legs. Or you can think of the kick as just a big sweeping axe that goes all the way through. And I think about like roundhouse kicks like that, right? Where it's just like a large wind up, you're just gonna cut all the way through your opponent and really just try to take them out with that one kick. So if I think about the first point, the kick as kind of a jab, I think about like the sport of fencing, right? So the fencer has a sword here and he's really just piecing away at his opponent. And he's keeping this side stance, and he's really just picking at them to try to score a point. The kick also has that same motion, right? So let's see if I could draw like a diagram on this screen here. And you're really thinking, my front leg has the opportunity to hit all these angles. So you have your front angle, straight forward. You have your roundhouse angle. You have your outside crest angle, right? You have your oblique kick, which is a stomp. So it's coming from up to down. You have your axe kicks, right? Which goes up from down forward. And then you have like your hooks kicks and your roundhouses, right? So you have your roundhouses coming from this side, you have your hook kick coming from this side as well. And then you have a side kick that kind of changes your foot from pointing forward and just rotates it and points aside. But as you can see, you just have all these different angles of attacks, either from the side or from the front, off of that front leg, right? And it's the same thing where I can try to use that kick to keep them at bay as I'm gauging my distance. You can use that kick to land forward to start a combination because your body weight's landing forward. Or you use that kick to kind of kick through things, break down their foundation, go around their guard here. With that said, I'll show some kicks on the bag with the front leg, and then we can talk about the back leg. So I'll try to stand off at an angle so you kind of see how it works on the bag. But again, you have your front snap kick, and we're not even talking about all the variations of the kick, right? You could kick with the ball of your feet, you kick with your toes if you're trained that way. You can turn this into more of a side kick with the blades of the foot, right? But it's still coming in straight forward. Now with the front kick, you have a fadeaway front kick where you're keeping them back. So if I'm close to the guy and I throw the kick so I can slide back, I can do that. Or you're driving forward and landing forward, right? So I can kick, land heavy forward so I can throw my combinations over the top. Another thrusting type of kick is your oblique kick, right? So you have this type of kick where it's from the front leg still, but I'm still stopping here, right? So I can oblique kick that, land in the front, and do something else. Now you have your round kicks, right? So things that come from the side, and then we'll talk about the axe kick that comes from top down. So a roundhouse kick essentially reminds me of a baseball bat swing, right? So swing here, wind up, go like that. It's hard to get that wind up off the front leg, but you still can generate some good force, right? So I can kick low with that roundhouse kick. I can kick a high. Kyokushin guys do this a lot to the inside of the thighs, but I can throw that roundhouse kick high too, right? And then you also have your hook kicks facing forward. So if I don't want to come around from this side, I can come around from this side, so I can go here, throw my round kick as a hook, right? And then of course you got the fancy ones if you want to spin with it, right? So if I want to spin, I can throw my hook that way. I could spin and throw my back kick, right? the back kick is kind of more like a front thrust. And then you have roundhouse kicks that if you have more dexterity in your legs, you can aim high and chop it straight down, right? So if I can bring my knee up high, I can chop it down from there, right? High, chop down. Another round kick would be your outside and inside crescents. Those aren't as applicable. I mean, it'll be nice to score some surface level points with it, but you're not gonna have a lot of impact. So outside in crescent will be essentially this motion in kata, where you're kicking the inside of your foot, your inside out crescent. It's gonna be with the top of your foot here, going like that, right? So you're crescenting outward from the inside. And now we'll talk about top-down type of heel kicks, right? So you have, specifically it's just axe kick really, but you're going from the inside out and you're gonna drop straight down, or the outside in and drop straight down as well. These are good for somebody who's like holding up their guard here and you don't wanna go into their guard, you wanna go up or around their guard. So a lot of times people throw this axe kick as a way to get them to shell up. See how it kind of feints them? So if you imagine the kick coming this way, it'll make me do that. And then the kick's gonna go around my head, around my guard, and go up on top of my head that way, right? So those are all the variations off the front leg. The back leg is kind of cool because that's your power one, right? Similarly to the blocks, my power kick, I have more travel with the back leg and more ability to push off of that leg, my front leg, to throw a more powerful kick. So you do have your front push kick or your back push kick here, right? Again, that's a thrust. You have your back roundhouse kicks, right? This is like my favorite kick because it has a big windup, it feels super powerful, it opens up my hips, and it has a lot of good torque in it too. So I'm able to torque my upper body into it and really generate power that way. So you also have spinning back kicks, right? So if I have my front foot on the outside of the bag, if I just cross it to the center or the other side, that allows me to spin and look at the bag behind my shoulder, right? And that's an easy indicator. If you guys see somebody do this and they start piecing this over, that's an easy indicator for a spinning back kick, right? A lot of times people keep square with their guard, but if they start doing that, that's a very easy indicator for a spinning back, right? So keep that in mind as well. You also have your rear oblique kick, pretty common. Very rarely are going to do some type of outside crescent from the rear. There's so much torque on your base leg that it's not super great. The big picture here is just thinking, how do I turn the person into quadrants? And how do I attack those quadrants with my leg? Is it going forward? Is it going around? Or is it going over the top, right? And then you have knees that come up from the bottom, essentially. Hope that makes sense.